Buckle up, history buffs, because we're about to set sail on an epic voyage across the vast Pacific, where the waves tell a tale of grit and genius. It's around 1200 CE, and you're aboard a double-hulled canoe, the warm trade winds whipping through your hair as you join the Polynesian Navigators of the open ocean. The horizon stretches endlessly, the salty spray mingling with the creak of lashed wood and the rhythmic splash of paddles. These weren't just sailors, they were the masterminds of one of history's greatest migrations, steering their way across thousands of miles to settle islands like Hawaii, New Zealand, and Easter Island. But as the sun dips and the last 24 hours loom, their survival hangs by a thread, a testament to human resilience in the face of nature's wildest challenge. The Polynesian expansion, spanning from roughly 1000 BCE to 1200 CE, was a marvel of navigation and courage. You can picture the outrigger canoes cutting through the turquoise waves, their triangular sails catching the wind as navigators scanned the stars. These men and sometimes women came from a culture rooted in the islands of Samoa and Tonga, where the sea was both home and highway. Unlike European explorers with compasses, Polynesians relied on an oral tradition of celestial navigation, reading the stars, wave patterns, and bird flights to chart their course. Their canoes, built from breadfruit trees and lashed with coconut fiber, were engineering feats designed for stability on the open ocean. But this journey wasn't a leisurely cruise. Storms, dehydration, and dwindling food turned the final day into a life-or-death struggle. The last 24 hours at sea were a crucible of survival. You might imagine the navigator, his face weathered by sun and salt, hunched over a woven mat, tracing the stars' positions as the canoe rocked. Supplies, dried fish, taro root, and coconuts were rationed to the last morsel, the crew's stomachs growling as they scanned for land. Historical evidence from oral histories, like those recorded by Teirangi, Hecro, Peter Buck, suggests navigators faced days without fresh water, their throats parched as they licked dew from sails. When food ran out, they turned to the sea itself. Small fish, caught with bone hooks, or seaweed washed aboard, became desperate meals. This wasn't a feast, it was a fight, their ingenuity keeping the crew alive when hope seemed lost. Life on these voyages was a relentless test. You can almost feel the sway of the canoe as storms lashed the hull, waves threatening to capsize the fragile craft. The navigators, often trained from childhood, memorized constellations like the Southern Cross and tracked ocean swells to stay on course. Archaeological finds, such as those on the Marquesas Islands, revealed tools like stick charts, woven maps of wave patterns used to navigate without landmarks. But the final day brought exhaustion, with crew members collapsing from hunger or delirium. Some chewed on leather straps or sucked on pebbles to stave off thirst, a grim survival tactic honed by necessity. This resilience spread across Polynesia, with evidence from Hawaii to Tahiti showing similar strategies. A shared culture of endurance. The Polynesian worldview shaped their journey. You might hear the faint chants to Tangaroa, god of the sea, as navigators offered prayers for guidance, their craft a sacred act. The ocean was a living entity, its moods respected and its bounty revered. Eating seaweed or fish caught mid-voyage carried spiritual weight. Some saw it as a gift from the gods, others a test of faith. Yet, this reliance on unconventional sustenance raised questions among later generations, who viewed it as a sign of desperation rather than skill. Navigators shared tales of survival around fires on newly settled islands, their stories etched into chants and passed down with a wry grin. These oral traditions, preserved by elders, reveal a resilient spirit. Their odd methods a bridge between survival and tradition, but the mystery deepens. What drove these navigators to push through the final hours, and how did their survival tactics shape the cultures they founded? As you ride the waves with them, you might wonder what other secrets of their seafaring prowess lie hidden beneath the Pacific's surface, waiting to be discovered. Welcome back, ocean explorers, as we plunge deeper into the rolling waves of the Pacific, where Polynesian navigators face the ultimate test of their seafaring skills in those critical last 24 hours. You last joined them aboard their double-hulled canoes around 1200 CE, marveling at their ingenuity as they turned seaweed and small fish into lifelines amid starvation. Now, let's dive into how these masters of the sea refined their survival. Tactics, forged connections across the vast ocean, and grappled with the spiritual weight of their journey, a saga that brings them closer to the shores of new worlds. As the final day dawned, navigators sharpened their strategies with a precision born of desperation. You can picture the lead navigator, his face etched with exhaustion, adjusting the canoe's sail to catch the faintest breeze, his eyes fixed on the horizon. Oral histories, documented by scholars like David Lewis, revealed they used every tool, at hand chewing on coconut husks for moisture or distilling seawater in hollowed stones heated by the sun. Small fish, snagged with bone hooks tied to improvised lines, were split and shared, their scales glinting under torchlight as the crew huddled together. This wasn't just survival, it was a refined art passed down through generations, with elders teaching youths to read the sea's subtle cues, shifting with land nearby, or the flight of a frigate bird signaling hope. The practice became a communal effort, turning the canoe into a floating school of resilience. This knowledge bridged distant islands. You might imagine a navigator from Samoa trading wave-reading tips with a Tahitian counterpart during a rare meeting at sea, their shared scars a testament to survival. Archaeological evidence, like stick charts found in the Marshall Islands, shows a network of navigation techniques spreading from Tonga to Hawaii. Seaweed, a common last resort food, appeared in settlement sites across Polynesia, suggesting a cultural exchange of survival tactics. These connections bolstered the navigators' spirits, creating a brotherhood of the ocean that defied the isolation of their voyages. Yet, this reliance on the sea's bounty drew scrutiny from island chiefs, who preferred tales of conquest over stories of eating kelp, pushing navigators to keep their methods hushed. The challenges of the open sea grew fiercer. You can almost feel the canoe lurch as a sudden squall drenched the crew, their hands numb as they baled water with coconut shells. Dehydration set in, with some hallucinating land after days without fresh water, their voices cracking as they sang to stay alert. Historical accounts, such as those from the Hockle of Voyagers, note navigators enduring 24-hour watches, their bodies pushed to the limit. They turned to unconventional aids, rubbing salt-crusted skin to stimulate circulation, or using seaweed as a compress for sores. This resilience was their edge, with evidence from New Zealand's early Maori settlements showing similar adaptations. A shared legacy of endurance across the Polynesian Triangle. Spirituality remained their anchor. You might hear the soft chants. Tahina, goddess of the moon, as navigators navigated by her light, their prayers a lifeline in the dark. Eating seaweed or fish mid-voyage was seen as a communion with the sea gods, a ritual that balanced survival with reverence. Yet, This practice clashed with traditional taboos. Some believed consuming sea life during a voyage angered the spirits, leading to whispered debates among the crew. Navigators countered with tales of divine favor, like a sudden school of fish, saving a starving canoe, their stories etched into songs and shared around beach fires. These narratives, preserved in oral traditions, reveal a defiant faith. Their odd methods, a bridge between the divine and the practical. But the mind lingers. How did the strain of those final hours affect their leadership? And what toll did it take on their spirits? As their canoes neared land, the enigma of their inner resilience deepens, leaving us to wonder what drove them to master the sea's last challenge, and how did it shape the societies they built. Welcome back, seafaring history lovers, as we bring the gripping tale of Polynesian Navigators to its dramatic conclusion. Story where the last 24 hours at sea forge a legacy that still ripples across the Pacific. You've sailed with them around 1200 CE, marveling at their ingenuity with seaweed meals and star-guided resilience, watching as they neared the brink of survival. Now, let's witness the climax of their journey, where their skills face the ultimate test, and their triumph shapes the cultures of islands yet to come, leaving a mark that endures to this day. As the final hours ticked by, the navigators' endurance reached its peak. You can picture the canoe rocking violently under a stormy sky. The lead navigator, his face gaunt from days without rest, clinging to the steering paddle, his eyes locked on a faint seabird circling overhead. Oral histories, like those recorded by the Polynesian Voyaging Society, recount a moment when a sudden rain squall saved a crew. The men scrambling to catch droplets in woven mats, their parched throats gulping life back. Small fish, caught in a last-ditch effort with bone hooks, were devoured raw, the taste a bitter victory. Archaeological evidence from Hawaii's early settlements shows fish bones and seaweed traces, confirming these acts preserved the voyagers long enough to spot land. This triumph turned desperation into triumph, their resilience a beacon in the storm. The arrival at new shores marked a turning point. You might imagine the canoe scraping onto the black sands of Hawaii or the rugged coasts of Aotearoa, the navigators collapsing as cheers erupted, their bodies trembling from the ordeal. The last 24 hours had whittled them down, but their survival ensured the peopling of the Polynesian Triangle. Historical records, such as those from Maori oral traditions, note the first settlers planting taro and building villages, their tales of the sea etched into haka dances. Yet, not all survived. Some canoes vanished, their crews lost to the deep, their stories swallowed by the waves. The practice of eating seaweed and fish lingered in rituals, a nod to the sea gods who guided them, influencing Polynesian diets for centuries. The spiritual resonance was profound. You can almost hear the chants to Kanaloa, god of the ocean, rising as navigators offered thanks, their tools blessed on new shores. The final hours' reliance on sea bounty was seen as a divine test, with survivors attributing their success to Tangaroa's favor. But this clashed with later taboos. Island priests banned mid-voyage eating, viewing it as sacrilege. Navigators countered with epic songs of survival, like the tale of a canoe saved by a dolphin pod, their narratives preserved in chants and carvings. These stories, handed down through generations, reveal a resilient faith, their odd methods, a foundation for Polynesian identity. Today, their saga echoes in our world. The navigator's ability to endure the last 24 hours mirrors modern sailors using solar stills or rationing in emergencies. a thread of ingenuity linking past to present. Their survival tactics shaped Polynesian navigation schools, influencing global maritime knowledge, from Captain Cook's charts to modern wayfinding. As you reflect on their journey, consider this: what lessons from their desperate hours at sea still guide us through today's uncharted waters? The answer might lie in the songs carried on the Pacific breeze, waiting to inspire a new dot. Thank you for joining this voyage. Stay tuned for more tales from the past.